Hello, beautiful people. This is Angela Johnson Ayers here. This YouTube entry is actually, I was just thinking about singles because I read one of the groups I'm on Facebook sent out a question, and the question was, would you date a man who is shorter than you? And I was just blown away at some of the responses that some of the women were given. Many were saying no, they would not date a guy who was shorter than them. Now, in the question, it didn't say like how many inches shorter. It didn't say the gentleman is he 12 inches shorter? Is he, it just didn't say. It just asked the question. And I thought, wow. And then I started looking through at some of the women to see their responses. I'm like, well, let me see some of these women to see what they look like, because some of them were saying, I only date a man that's 6 foot. And I thought, okay, well, how tall are you? And one lady was like, well, I'm 5'1". And I'm thinking, well, okay, I can understand, she may not want to date anyone that's substantially shorter than her, but, and it started me thinking about as singles sometime in the day we live in, some of you all, man, I got to be honest with you, your perception is screwed up when it comes to a mate and what to really look for in qualities. I feel like some of you are just the okie doke with TV and television has just pulled the wool over your eyes, and you think everybody that you are with has to look and come a certain way. And I'm not saying look, it's good to have a preference. It is very good to have a preference. It's nothing wrong with saying I prefer to date an Italian guy, or I prefer to date a man who is college educated, or I prefer to date a man who is 6'2". But here's the thing with that, okay? What are the things that you totally cannot live without? When you're making your list of Mr. Right, and I'm talking to the women right now, when my husband and I get together, we're going to do a show, because we used to do workshops called Are You Really Ready? Years ago before we had the children. And so when he and I come together, he's going to have him address the men. But for you ladies out here, what are the things you cannot live without? I'm going to share what some of mine were, okay? One of mine was, first of all, he had to love God. Now, did he have to be a pastor, speaking in tongue, running around the church, No. Okay, I just want a man who truly and sincerely loved God, because me having grown up in the church, I had come across a lot of men who could speak in tongue, or so they said they could, or they sounded like they were, but God only knows if it was God's spirit or whose, and could play church. But I needed someone who just truly had a love for God in their heart and believed that Jesus was Lord. That was my number one requirement. My second one was that he was a hardworking man. I have multiple degrees. I didn't need a man who had a PhD in biochemistry. I mean, it would have been great if that was his thing and he came that way, fine. But it was not my requirement. I didn't care if he had a trade or a college degree. I just wanted a man who was hardworking and had vision. Okay, that was number 2. Third desire was that he would always desire me, sexually, emotionally, in every area, and I got it. And then them days, and you wives know about them days that you complain because you got your husband rubbing up on you behind you at night. Don't forget them prayers we prayed that our husbands will always be satisfied with us, okay? But and also just little things as far as like with desiring to have a child or two, and hardworking and all those type of things. Now then, I had another list that were like the really make-a-wish things. I mean, who doesn't want a Denzel? Who doesn't want someone 6'3", 235, all muscle? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's nice too. But that wasn't one of the things that wasn't one of the things I had to have. They were not one of my non-negotiables. And so out here in my dating life, I ran across nice guys. Some were nice, some weren't. I remember I dated this one guy. He was so fine. He was fine. He was like 6'3". He always wore business suits. I met him when I lived in Philadelphia. He always wore suits all the time. Drove a black BMW, blah, 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 blah. Nice man, right? But he just didn't it didn't hold me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't hold my interest. Those type of superficial things. It didn't, when I was around him, he didn't make me feel like a better person. You know? When I met Larry, my husband, today, I was at a very low point. I had gotten to the point, I had just got out of a very bad relationship with a gentleman. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best, okay? And I was at my heaviest weight. I was at 318 pounds. And I was just at a very low point in my life. And I had just said, God, I'm done with this. I'm sick of doing it my way. You send me someone who you want me to have, God. And I'm telling you, when I met Larry, we were just, I could talk to him about anything. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I could be myself. I didn't have to put on airs. Isn't that funny? I didn't have to put on an air, and my last name is Ayers, but it's spelled different. But anyway. Anyway, though, I just felt like I could be myself. And in that first weekend of us talking, we talked on the phone all weekend because I was living in Philly. He was still in the D.C. area, and I had the flu. And we just talked the whole time, and I could just be myself. He never judged me. The second thing that made me really, really dig him was he didn't ask for no booty. You understand what I'm saying? Not right off the bat. You know, and I was so used to guys, just that was the thing, till it was me who was trying to initiate it. And he was just like, wait a minute, hold up, you know? And I was like, yo, dude, what's up with you, you know? And ladies, my husband, I'm 5'10". My husband's probably what? 5'7.5", 5'8". But when he were to stand up on his character, stand up on his love for me, he'd be a 8-foot giant. And I'm telling you, ladies, and again, I'm not telling you to date someone and to lower your standards. But if the thing that's stopping you from really getting to know Mr. Joe Correct or Joe Right is his height, I beseech you to try to really rethink that thing. If what's stopping you from saying, man, this guy, he might really be cool, is because he's white and you're black, or you're Latino and he's Asian, but he loves God and he's hardworking, you're going to let that stop you? I mean, that's stupid. I remember years ago, I met this woman, and I don't even know where she is today, but I would be willing to bet a dime to a donut. She's probably still single and 50 years old. She would not date. She wouldn't even give a dark-skinned man the time of day. I'm like, are you insane? Are you crazy? You know what I mean? That's just, I don't understand that. You know, to me, it's just as stupid as men, some men, who won't date a woman who's heavier. I'm going to tell you something. I have some stories to tell you about all of that. Because when I was at 318 pounds, honey, the one thing I heard more than anything in the world was, you have such a pretty face, but it's just your weight. And I thought, ain't that some... Because if my face is so gorgeous now at 318 pounds, I mean, why can't you work out with me? Why can't we work out together? And then, bam, you get, you know, what you get. And I'm so thankful my husband, when I met him, you know, I was just getting ready to get the gastric bypass surgery. And someone had asked me, are you sure you want to get into a serious relationship with someone before getting the surgery? Because, you know, your life is going to totally change after you lose weight, and, you know, your dating options may open up, and you may really... And I said to myself, no, if this joker was with me at my heaviest, he deserves the best of me. And I'm telling you, ladies, what I'm saying to you is this. You know how it hurts you if a man rejects you because you are heavier, or because you may wear weave? I remember when that was the thing. Brothers won't even check for your sister who, if she wasn't wearing her own hair. And I would be like, are you for real? Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, all these women that you have all these crushes on. Are you kidding me? They wear makeup and weave, and you sitting here telling me that? That's what I'm saying. Whatever, boy, bye. You know? So my whole thing is this, ladies. With Valentine's Day quickly approaching, I'm not telling you to hurry up and get booed up with just anybody, just so you can get booed up with someone. But what I am telling you, seriously, ladies, and particularly I'm talking to my African-American sisters, you know, I do not believe the myth that there is a shortage in good men. I do believe, however, that when it comes to African American men, and because of situations and high incarceration rates and various other stigmas that plague our community, you may want to start opening up your gates to people outside of the culture, outside of the race. But if that's not your thing, if a gentleman comes to you and he has on a city bus driver uniform, don't turn your nose up at him because he's a bus driver. Because today he could be a bus driver, but tomorrow he may own his own fleet of buses. You see what I'm saying? Start with the basics. And again, ladies, you got to remember too, let's keep it 100, okay? You expect this man to be an Adonis, right? You want him to look all this and cut and all that. What you working with though? I mean, what you working with? You know, how you look. You understand? And then, like I said, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But let's be realistic out here today. So ladies, singles, again, I'm not telling you to lower your standards. God forbid, don't ever do that. But please know the difference between your list of negotiables and non-negotiables. And don't miss out on something. I'm really concerned, especially for my black women out here who are single. I fear that a lot of you all are missing out because some of you all are just too afraid to date someone who may look a little different than you. You're like, oh, I just can't date someone who's not black. Have you ever tried? I mean, come on. I can't date nobody who's shorter than me. Look, and if you marry that joker, when you and him are laying in your marital bed together and you laying next to each other, height don't have nothing to do with the beauty of lovemaking when you all are together as one. So what I'm saying to you all is don't get caught up in this whole Valentine's Day okie doke and find yourself depressed. And even more importantly, please, these list of negotiables and non-negotiables, just rethink them. Rethink some of them. Pray about it and say, okay, God, what would you want me to have in a mate? And make me wifey material. Make me mate material as well. All right, until next time, be blessed. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.